Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're embarking on a journey into a topic that might seem, well, incredibly straightforward on the surface, but trust me, it's absolutely brimming with surprising nuances that can fundamentally transform your everyday English. We're talking about the subtle yet powerful art of ordering, whether it's your morning coffee, a hearty meal, or maybe a delightful baked good.
Right, things we do all the time.
Exactly. This isn't just about knowing vocabulary. It's about mastering the unspoken rules, understanding those fascinating shifts in pronunciation, and gaining the genuine confidence to navigate these ubiquitous daily interactions with effortless grace.
Think about how often you find yourself in a situation where you need to order something. It's a constant, fundamental thread woven into the fabric of daily life.
Your essential morning caffeine fix, a quick lunch, grabbing a snack on the go.
It's everywhere.
And this deep dive is meticulously custom-tailored to help you become a true master of these interactions, making them not just efficient, but genuinely feel effortless.
And our core mission today is, well, to meticulously extract the most crucial insights from the rich stack of sources we've compiled on practical English phrases for ordering food and beverages across a diverse range of settings.
So we're not just handing out a list of words.
Definitely not. We aim to go far beyond that. Instead, we are going to peel back the layers and uncover the profound why behind the choices native speakers intuitively make.
Right.
We're delving into the preferred grammatical structures, the often overlooked yet critical pronunciation shifts that occur in natural speech, and, the underlying cultural context that truly unlock a deeper level of fluency and understanding.
Because knowing those details helps you speak and understand better, right?
Precisely. Grasping these intricate details will empower you not just to speak more effectively and naturally, but also to comprehend native speakers with far greater clarity, which, as we know, is often half the battle in real-world conversations. It's about recognizing how individual sounds fuse together and why certain phrasing carries a specific social weight or is simply more efficient.
That's spot on. And to achieve this mastery, we're going to take you on a truly dynamic journey. We'll kick things off in the casual, familiar world of everyday cafe interactions. The ones that often define our mornings.
The coffee run.
Exactly. From there, we'll smoothly transition to the more involved and nuanced environment of sit-down restaurants, where politeness and specific requests truly take center stage.
A different vibe altogether.
Then we'll accelerate into the fast-paced, highly efficient realm of drive-thrusts, where brevity and clarity are paramount.
Speed is key there.
And finally, we'll wrap up our exploration by savoring the delightful and often sensory experience of ordering at a bakery. So get ready for a series of genuine aha moments, packed with surprising linguistic facts and practical tips that will make this learning not just incredibly effective, but genuinely memorable and enjoyable.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, let's really unpack this by diving into what is arguably the most common ordering ritual for countless people. The cafe order. This is where you grab your essential daily caffeine fix, perhaps a soothing herbal tea or even a refreshing smoothie.
Right.
What's fascinating here is that even in such a seemingly simple transaction, there are some remarkably subtle yet significant differences in how native speakers intuitively phrase their orders.
There really are.
We're going to break down the most common and truly native-sounding phrases for you, giving you the tools to sound like you've been doing this your whole life.
Indeed. When it comes to requesting beverages at a cafe, you'll observe that native speakers overwhelmingly gravitate towards a few specific key phrases.
Okay.
And truly understanding the subtle nuances of these phrases, beyond just their literal meaning, can make an enormous difference, not only in how natural you sound, but perhaps even more critically, in how easily and efficiently you are understood by the person taking your order.
So it helps the whole interaction flow better.
Exactly. It's about more than just words. It's about the expectation and sort of the social contract of the interaction.
So if you want to sound as authentic and confident as possible, what's the number one phrase? The absolute most common and native-sounding one you should really try to adopt.
Okay, the top one, the one you'll hear most often, is I'll get a.
I'll get a.
Yeah. For example, you would confidently say, I'll get a large cold brew with oat milk, or I'll get a small black coffee, please.
So it's not really a question, is it? Like you're not asking permission.
That's the key thing. It's a clear, decisive statement of what you intend to receive. This conveys a sense of confidence and efficiency that is highly valued in quick, transactional environments.
It basically signals, this is my choice, please prepare it for me.
Exact.
Now, you mentioned pronunciation shifts earlier. Is there something specific about, I'll get a?
Ah, yes. This is really fascinating and a critical insight for any wanting to truly understand native speech. When native speakers say, I'll get it very often sounds like one fluid, combined word in rapid conversational English.
Like mashed together.
Pretty much, almost like I'll get or even just I'll
Okay.
This blending of sounds, linguists call it illusion or assimilation. It's incredibly common. The subtle 10 sound at the end of get might even disappear or soften into the sound that follows.
Oh, wow.
Recognizing this fusion of sounds is absolutely key to understanding native speakers when they speak quickly. And if you practice articulating it this way yourself, it will make your speech flow far more naturally.
So it sounds less like you're reading from a script.
Precisely, less like you're reading from a textbook and more like a fluent speaker. This isn't lazy speech either, it's just how the language efficiently connects sounds.
Like gonna or wanna.
Exactly, same principle. You hear it in gonna, going to, wanna, have to, kinda, or sorta, sort of. It's everywhere.
That's a huge aha moment.
Yeah.
Right there. It's all about that natural flow and connection. So if I'll get a kinda is the top choice, what's another incredibly common and perfectly acceptable option? You know, if that one isn't quite clicking for someone, or maybe they just prefer a slightly different tone.
Well, another very common and widely used option, which you'll hear from a significant percentage of native speakers, our sources suggest around 80% use it regularly, is I'd like a.
I'd like a. Okay, that sounds a bit more polite, maybe.
It can be perceived that way, yeah.
Well,
This phrasing offers a slightly more formal, perhaps a touch more polite, yet still widely accepted and perfectly natural alternative. So saying, I'd like a large cold brew with oat milk is entirely appropriate and will be clearly understood.
it still sounds like you know what you want, though.
Oh, definitely. It conveys a polite statement of desire without the same sort of direct certainty of, I'll get a, but still signaling a clear intention to order.
Now, what about, can I have a poem? I certainly hear that one sometimes too, especially maybe from learners of English. Is that grammatically okay? And how does it stack up against the others?
It is absolutely grammatically correct to say, can I have for example, can I have a small green tea with honey? Perfectly fine sentence.
But. There's a but, isn't there?
There is a subtle difference in usage, yeah. Here's the crucial distinction. When native speakers already know precisely what they want to order, they instinctively tend to state their orders as affirmative facts or declarations.
Like, I'll get a ba, or I'd like a bat.
Exactly. Rather than framing them as questions that might imply uncertainty or even a request for permission, those phrases convey a distinct sense of knowing your order, which is generally the preferred approach in fast-paced transactional settings like a cafe counter.
So can I have it might sound a bit less confident, or like you're unsure if they even have it.
It can sometimes subtly imply that yes, that you are asking if the item is available or if you are permitted to have it, rather than simply stating your order. It's not inherently wrong, let me stress that, but it's just less commonly chosen by natives when the item's availability is pretty much assumed.
That distinction really clarifies things. It's like you're not asking if they can give it to you, but rather confidently stating your intention to receive it. Okay, so to round out our most common phrases for cafes, what's the second most common overall after I'll get a that still has that confident vibe?
The second most common phrase you'll encounter, closely following I'll get a, is I'll have a.
I'll have a. Also using that I'll contraction.
Exactly. Again, it relies on the contracted form I will, which naturally blends into all in spoken English. So, I'll have a large cold brew with oat milk sounds completely natural and is very widely used.
So I'll get a and I'll have all are basically interchangeable.
For all practical purposes, in this context, yes. They effectively convey the same confident intent to place an order. The key linguistic takeaway here is that pervasive contraction I'll, which is how we as native speakers naturally articulate it.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting and practical. When do we switch back to using those question forms? Because sometimes you absolutely do need to ask a question.
Right.
Especially when you're not entirely sure about the available options, or if you have very specific dietary requirements or preferences. This is where precision becomes paramount.
That's precisely the situation where question forms become not just essential, but indispensable. For instance, if you have a specific taste preference you need to confirm, a known dietary restriction, or maybe a potential allergy, you absolutely must use a question to inquire about availability or suitability.
And is there a common way to structure those questions?
Yes. The most common and versatile structure you'll employ is, do you have any options?
Do you have any options?
And again, thinking about pronunciation in spoken English, this often blends, sounding quite often like, do you have any?
Do you have any?
Yeah. Again, the goal isn't to force you to speak that exact way, but just to prepare you to understand it when native speakers efficiently combine their sounds.
Could you give us some really specific examples of those options questions?
Yeah.
The kind people will actually hear and need to use in cafes or restaurants? I think that would be incredibly useful.
Of course. You might ask, do you have any caffeine-free options?
Okay, caffeine-free. That suffix free, what does that mean exactly?
Good question. The free suffix, as in caffeine-free, basically means without or lacking. So caffeine-free means without caffeine. This suffix is incredibly versatile and productive in North American English, especially concerning dietary restrictions and product descriptions.
So you hear it a lot.
Oh, yeah. You'll commonly hear, do you have any gluten-free options? Which is vital for individuals with celiac disease or gluten sensitivities, meaning options prepared without gluten. Another frequent query is, do you have any sugar-free options for those monitoring their sugar intake? And, increasingly important, do you have any dairy-free options?
Dairy-free, for people avoiding milk products.
Exactly, whether it's due to lactose intolerance, allergy, or just personal choice.
Dairy-free options. That feels like such a huge topic in North America right now. Could you expand a bit on the cultural relevance here and maybe detail some of the most common plant-based alternatives that listeners should know about?
Absolutely. In North America, there has been a truly remarkable and honestly quite rapid shift towards plant-based milks. It's huge. This makes dairy-free options incredibly common and widely expected in cafes and even grocery stores now.
Like oat milk. That seems to be everywhere.
Oat milk, yes, has become exceptionally popular. It's a plant-based alternative made from oats, obviously not cows, and it's celebrated for its wonderfully creamy texture and a slightly sweet, pretty neutral flavor profile that blends beautifully into coffee and espresso drinks. It can even create a latte foam, very similar to dairy milk.
What about other options, like almond or coconut?
Right. Almond milk is another very common non-dairy type, offering a lighter, maybe nuttier flavor. Coconut milk is also an option, though you'll find it less common in North American cafes specifically for coffee.
Why is that?
Well, partly due to its distinct flavor, which isn't always preferred with coffee, and sometimes its higher cost compared to oat or almond milk.
So oat and almond are the main players.
Generally, yes. The sheer prevalence of these options means you'll consistently find extensive sections of menus dedicated to dairy-free alternatives in most cafes and many restaurants. They're directly catering to a rapidly growing consumer demand.
Good to know. And just to be super clear for everyone listening, how do you spell dairy?
Good point. Dairy is spelled D-A-I-R-Y.
Perfect. So when you want to make a specific adjustment to your drink, like turning a typically hot drink into a cold one, say it's summer, and your usual hot tea just needs to be iced. How do you phrase that effectively?
Okay, for those precise preparation requests, especially converting a hot beverage to a cold one, you would most effectively use, can you make it iced?
Can you make it iced? So it's a question again?
Exactly. It's phrased as a question because you are not making an assumption that it's universally possible or standard. You are inquiring about a specific modification. The word make in this context simply means prepare or produce.
And any pronunciation quirks with iced.
Yes. Pay very close attention to the pronunciation of iced in natural speech. It often ends with a clear T sound, so it sounds more like ice it rather than a soft iced.
Ice it. Okay, interesting.
You might also ask for other specific preparations, like can you make it extra hot? Or maybe can I get it with light ice? Or even can you make it lukewarm if you don't want it scalding?
Perfect. So you could seamlessly combine that with your initial order, right? Something like, I'll get a small green tea with honey. Can you make it iced?
Precisely. That flows really naturally and clearly.
Okay, so you've ordered, maybe asked for a modification, and now you have your drink. But you want to double check it's right, especially if it was, say, a caffeine-free request. How do you do that without sounding accusatory?
Right. You don't want to seem like you're complaining before you even taste it. A very useful and polite confirmation technique is this. You state what you believe to be true about the item you've just received, and then you add right at the end.
Okay, like a little tag question.
Exactly. For instance, if you specifically ordered an unsweetened iced tea as you pick it up, you might politely say, this is unsweetened, right?
I see. That feels much gentler than, did you make this unsweetened?
Exactly. This phrasing is non-accusatory and simply seeks confirmation.
That's a really clever and non-confrontational approach. So other excellent examples would be, this is caffeine-free, right? Or perhaps, this is oat milk, right?
Exactly. It's a fantastic way to get that final reassuring confirmation before you fully commit to your drink or walk away. It's all about ensuring accuracy and peace of mind without directly challenging or accusing the person who prepared your order. It's just a polite check.
Okay, let's clarify some common coffee terms that sometimes cause confusion, especially maybe for those new to North American coffee culture. What exactly does black coffee mean in its simplest form?
Black coffee is quite straightforward. It simply means coffee brewed without any added sugar or milk or cream.
Just the coffee itself.
Right. It's just the pure, unadulterated brewed coffee on its own. For those who truly appreciate the nuanced flavors of coffee, ordering it black allows you to experience the specific characteristics of the beans and the roast. And it's worth noting that black coffee can come from various brewing methods, not just one.
And I've definitely heard the term drip coffee,
Right.
especially in what you might call fancy or specialty cafes. What does that term signify and why is it used?
Drip coffee. That's the widely used term for, well, regular, standard, ordinary brewed coffee.
It's normal coffee.
Pretty much, especially within cafes that offer a wide array of more elaborate or specialty drinks like lattes, cappuccinos, Americanos, things like that. It specifically refers to the common brewing process where hot water slowly drips through a bed of ground coffee, hence the name drip.
Okay, so it describes how it's made.
Exactly. So if you simply want a basic, standard cup of hot coffee without any fancy additions or espresso, you would confidently ask for drip coffee to differentiate it from the more complex specialty beverages on the menu.
And you can still specify black, right? Like, I'll get a large black drip coffee.
That's exactly how you'd combine it. It's the everyday workhorse of coffee, really.
That's a truly fantastic distinction. It helps clarify exactly what you're asking for, especially when faced with one of those huge, slightly intimidating menus. So what does all of this mean for you, our dedicated listener? Take a moment to reflect on your own daily coffee or tea routine. Which of these essential phrases resonates most with your style? Which specific phrase will you actively try to incorporate the very next time you place an order?
You know, they fit so naturally and seamlessly into daily life, don't they?
They really do. And mastering them truly makes a difference in feeling comfortable and confident. Okay, we've successfully mastered the quick and efficient cafe order, arming ourselves with confidence for our daily caffeine fix. Now, let's gracefully transition into a slightly more involved and often more formal environment, the sit-down restaurant.
Right, a different setting entirely.
This is a setting where you're not merely grabbing something to go. You're typically sitting down, perhaps enjoying a meal with friends, family, or colleagues, and the whole interaction extends far beyond a simple transaction at a counter.
That's absolutely correct. Ordering at a sit-down restaurant introduces a distinct set of social cues, expectations, and common phrases that are crucial to navigate. The experience often begins even before you've had a chance to look at the menu, usually with getting a table.
All right, so when you first walk into a restaurant and you're looking to be seated, what's the most common, concise, and natural way to say how many people are in your party?
Okay. The most common, concise, and perfectly natural way to indicate your party size is to simply say, for two, please, or for four, please, depending on your group size.
Just for two, not table for two.
While it is grammatically correct to say, table for two, please, most native speakers will spontaneously drop the word table and opt for this shortened, more efficient version. It's universally understood and signals that you're ready to be seated.
Direct, polite, efficient. Got it.
Exactly. Doesn't waste words.
And what if you have a specific preference for where you sit? Like maybe you prefer a certain type of seating or location within the restaurant. How do you politely convey that without sounding demanding?
You can absolutely and politely state your preference. For example, in a booth, if you have one, is a very common request.
A booth being the bench seating, usually.
Yeah, right. Typically fixed bench seating, often upholstered, usually against a wall or as part of a row, rather than individual chairs. Lots of people prefer booths for comfort, privacy, or easier conversation.
Okay. And what about sitting outside?
If you prefer to sit outdoors, maybe on a nice day, you might say on the patio if there's space or if there's room.
Notice the prepositions there. In a booth, but on the patio.
Good catch. Yes, in a booth, on the patio. And adding that little phrase, if you have one, or if there's space room, is really key for politeness.
Why is that?
It implies that you understand it might not be available, making your request flexible and courteous rather than a demand. The one, in if you have one, refers specifically back to a booth, but for a patio, you're asking about the availability of space on the patio itself.
Makes sense. So once you're comfortably seated, maybe settling in with water, but before you really dive into the main menu, a lot of people are curious about any special offerings the kitchen might have that day. How do you ask about those?
A very common and frankly smart question to ask your server is, do you have any specials tonight? Or maybe just, what are the specials?
And specials means what exactly?
Specials refer to unique dishes or beverages that are not listed on the regular printed menu. These are often creative, seasonal, or limited time offerings prepared by the chef for that particular night, week, or even just the day.
So it's a way to try something new, maybe something really fresh.
Exactly. Restaurants use specials to highlight fresh, seasonal ingredients, to test out new recipes, showcase a chef's creativity, or sometimes even to utilize specific ingredients before they, well, go bad. Asking about them is a fantastic way to explore new dishes and ensure you don't miss out on something potentially unique and often exceptionally fresh.
Good tip. Now let's tackle beverages at the table, specifically water. Restaurants often present various water options. How do you expertly navigate that, especially if you just want plain old free tap water?
This is a particularly important cultural point, especially for North America. When asked about water, you might be offered choices like sparkling water, still bottled water, maybe even filtered water, all of which typically cost extra.
Right.
If you simply want regular tap water, the most common and culturally appropriate phrase to use is house water is fine, or just house water, please.
House water, that's the key term.
That is the key restaurant term for tap water in North America. And it's absolutely crucial for you to understand that here, tap water is generally considered safe to drink, widely available, and importantly, completely free of charge in restaurants.
So they might offer the fancy stuff first to make money.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Restaurants might offer bottled or sparkling water first because it's a revenue source. So by confidently saying house water is fine, you are politely but clearly declining the paid options and specifying that you prefer the complimentary tap water. If a restaurant in North America tries to charge you for basic tap water, that is highly unusual, and frankly, you're probably being ripped off.
Okay, so house water is fine, is the go-to for free, refreshing water. Now, you mentioned sparkling water. What exactly is that? How is it different from, say, club soda or tonic water?
Good question. There are subtle differences. Sparkling water is quite simply water that has been carbonated, meaning it has bubbles of carbon dioxide gas infused into it, giving it that characteristic fizz.
Like soda, but just water.
Essentially, yes. Think of it like a soda, but without any sweeteners, flavors, or other additives. It's distinct from club soda, which often has added minerals and sometimes a slightly salty taste, or seltzer, which is generally just plain carbonated water. And tonic water, while also fizzy, is different again. It contains quinine and typically sugar, giving it a unique bitter and sweet flavor, often used as a mixer in drinks like gin and tonic.
So sparkling water is just pure, bubbly water.
Usually, yes, that's the general understanding.
That's a great distinction for our listener, helping differentiate between those subtly different beverage options. So as you dine out, you can consider your preferences now that you know these specific phrases for navigating water choices. Okay, let's pivot and delve into the fascinating art of customizing your meal, specifically focusing on substitutions. This is a remarkably common scenario.
Oh, yeah.
You want to change a side dish that comes with your main course, or maybe an ingredient. It's where your linguistic agility can really shine.
Absolutely. A very common and practical question you might find yourself asking is, can I substitute the fries for a Caesar salad?
And that's a question because you don't know if it's allowed or if it costs extra.
Exactly. It's rightly phrased as a question because you genuinely do not know if it's permissible or if there will be an additional fee involved. The verb substitute in this context means to change one included item for another item.
So you're swapping the fries for the salad.
Precisely. If the meal package comes with fries, but you prefer the Caesar salad instead, you are explicitly requesting a direct replacement. And it's important to be aware that there might indeed be a small upcharge for this.
Why is that?
Often you are swapping a less expensive standard side, like fries, for a more premium option, like a prepared salad, reflecting differences in ingredient costs or maybe portion control.
Okay, so substitute clearly means replacing one thing with another. Can you just use the word replace instead, like can I replace the fries with a Caesar salad?
Yes, replace is a perfectly valid and commonly used synonym in this context. Can I replace the fries with a Caesar salad?
Oh,
Works just as effectively and conveys the identical meaning.
good to know. But are there phrases to avoid? Like, could you say, can I turn the fries into a Caesar salad?
No, definitely avoid that one.
Why not?
Because the idiom turn into fundamentally implies a transformation or a creation, like, turning water into ice or an old log into a sculpture. You are certainly not magically creating a salad from the fries.
Haha.
You are merely swapping one pre-existing item for another. That distinction is important for natural communication. Don't try to be an alchemist with your side dishes.
That's a truly invaluable clarification. Don't turn fries into salad.
Got it. And speaking of small additions, how do you politely ask for something like an extra slice of lemon for your water, or maybe a side of sauce?
For those common small additions, you can simply and directly add a phrase like, with a slice of lemon, please, to your water order. Or maybe ask later, could I also get a side of ranch dressing, please? It's direct and clear.
You mentioned slice of lemon. Is there a difference between a slice and, say, a wedge?
Good point. There often is. For beverages like water or iced tea, you typically receive a slice of lemon, a thin, often round piece, primarily just for flavor infusion. However, for something like a Caesar salad or maybe a piece of fish, you might be given a wedge, which is a thicker, often quartered piece of citrus fruit specifically intended for squeezing a larger quantity of juice over your food. Slice for flavor, wedge for squeezing. Makes sense. Okay, here's a crucial distinction that I think often trips people up and can lead to misunderstandings. The difference between substitutions and simple removals. Can you really highlight that difference for us?
Yes, this is a very important point for clarity and ordering, and sometimes for managing expectations about cost.
Okay.
If you simply do not want an item that typically comes with your order, for example, asking for your burger with no tomato, that is categorized as a removal, not a substitution.
Because nothing is taking its place.
Exactly. You are explicitly asking for an item to be excluded, and you are not requesting anything to replace it. A substitution, on the other hand, inherently implies that something else is taking the place of the removed item.
Like the classic fries for salad swap we talked about.
Precisely. A very common scenario is when people choose to substitute a side salad for fries, maybe because they prefer the healthier option rather than simply asking for no fries at all without replacing them.
And does removing something usually get you a discount? Like no tomato, cheaper burger?
Generally, no. Simply removing an item from your order almost never leads to a discount in the overall price.
Why not?
Because you are not replacing it with an item of lesser or equal value that would alter the cost structure of the meal as it was designed and priced. The restaurant has already accounted for that standard item, like the tomato, in the base price. They usually only charge extra for additions.
That's a truly key takeaway for navigating menus with confidence and managing expectations. So listener, if you were ordering a classic burger and fries, and you had the option to substitute a side item, what would you personally choose to swap out, and why? Think about your preferred side. Salad, onion rings, coleslaw.
Interesting question to ponder.
All right, we've tackled the sit-down dining experience. Now let's shift gears dramatically and plunge into the world of speed, efficiency, and incredible convenience, the drive-through and fast food experience.
Yeah, total change of pace here.
This environment is characterized by its highly casual nature, and indeed, brevity is absolutely king here. Every word counts, and efficiency is paramount.
That's spot on. The drive-through is arguably the most casual and streamlined ordering environment you'll encounter. Because every aspect of the operation is meticulously designed for maximum speed and throughput, there are very specific linguistic shortcuts and conventions that have become ingrained.
Things everyone just sort of knows to do.
Exactly. They're expected by both customers and staff. This is where conciseness truly reigns supreme.
Okay, one of the biggest and most obvious shortcuts I've observed is ordering by number. How common is that practice, and what's the underlying reason it's so widely used in drive-thrus?
Ordering by number is not just common, it is incredibly common and absolutely crucial for speeding up the entire ordering process.
Right, you see those big numbered menu boards.
Exactly. Most drive-thrus feature a prominent menu board where almost every combo meal or signature item is assigned a distinct number. So instead of having to recite a lengthy description like, I'll have the double cheeseburger with bacon, a medium order of fries, and a large Coke, you can simply and efficiently say,
I'll have the number 5.
Precisely. I'll have the number 5. This method is remarkably quick, entirely unambiguous, and significantly speeds up the transaction for both you and the restaurant staff.
Could you also say, I'll get the number 5?
Absolutely. I'll get the number 5 works perfectly too. While you technically can use the full name of the item, using the number is just way more efficient and often preferred in this rapid-fire environment.
And what if you want to remove an item, say pickles, from your burger without adding anything else? We talked about removals earlier. How do you clearly specify these exclusions without sounding rude or creating confusion in such a fast-paced setting?
Okay, for removals in fast food, you would primarily use phrases like, but with no pickles, or simply without pickles.
No pickles or without pickles.
Yes, these are by far the most common, polite, and universally understood ways to indicate that you want a specific ingredient removed. For instance, you would confidently say, I'll have the number 5, but with no pickles. Or even just,
I'll have the number 5 without pickles.
exactly. You don't even strictly need the but. It's direct and clear. Now, a word that, while grammatically correct, is far too formal and sounds really unnatural in this context is omit.
Omit. Like, could you omit the pickles?
Yeah, saying something like that would likely sound quite out of place in a drive-thru. Stick to the simple stuff.
Got it. And just like in the restaurant, removing an item generally doesn't mean you pay less, right?
Correct. They typically only charge for additions, not usually for what you leave off a standard item.
So definitely no omit, stick with no pickles or without pickles. That's a really valuable rule of thumb for this environment.
And speaking of informal phrases, I feel like I've heard some native speakers say, I'll do the number 5. Is that a common and acceptable variation?
Yes, I'll do the number 5 is indeed a very common, highly informal, but perfectly acceptable way among many native speakers to convey I'll have or I'll order.
So it's like a super casual alternative. Exactly. While I'll get a or I'll have remain the standard and universally applicable choices I'll do is certainly a part of the casual lexicon, particularly in fast food settings. It just sounds very quick and decisive.
But is there anything to avoid?
Yeah.
Like we said, omit was too formal. Anything too informal or maybe rude?
Yes, it's very important to highlight a phrase to explicitly avoid I want.
I want the number 5. Why avoid that?
While it's grammatically correct in general conversation saying, I want, when ordering food from staff in a transactional setting like this can come across as too direct, maybe a bit demanding, or even impolite.
Lacks a bit of finesse.
Yeah, it lacks the subtle politeness conveyed by the other phrases like I'll get or I'll have. It's generally best to stick with I'll get, I'll have, or even I'll do if you're comfortable with that very informal, efficient style.
That's incredibly helpful for avoiding any awkwardness. Okay, sometimes you need a little something extra in your bag, like a few more napkins or some specific sauces, ketchup packets, that sort of thing. How do you casually and effectively ask for those small additions to your takeout order?
You can use a fantastic and very casual phrase here. Can you throw in some extra napkins?
Throw in, like tossing them.
Haha. Well, not literally throwing. The key idiom here is throw in, which specifically means to include as an additional, usually free item, or simply to put into a bag along with the main purchase.
Okay, so it implies adding something extra to the bag.
Precisely. This phrase is almost exclusively used when items are being packaged to go, whether you're at a drive-thru, picking up an order at a counter inside, or even maybe at a bakery getting pastries bagged up. It implies adding something small to the bag.
So it's truly specific to things being put in a bag for takeout. Like, can you throw in some extra salt or a pair of ketchup? Or maybe can you throw in some extra spoons or straws?
Exactly. It explicitly implies packaging for takeout or delivery. And a quick note on napkins versus tissues in North American usage, since you mentioned napkins.
Oh yeah, what's the difference?
A napkin is generally a thicker paper product used for hands and mouths during eating, commonly found at restaurants or with takeout food. A tissue, often people just say Kleenex, the brand name, is typically thinner and primarily used for blowing one's nose. So you ask for napkins with food.
Good distinction. And straws. Things have changed there recently, haven't they?
Oh, absolutely. For environmental reasons, you'll find that plastic straws are rapidly becoming a thing of the past in North America. Most places now provide paper straws.
Which is good for the planet, but maybe not always great for the drink.
Well, yeah, that's the common feedback. They do tend to soften and sometimes don't last as long in your drink as the old plastic ones did. It's a trade-off.
Good to know about the straws and the napkin tissue difference. Now, moving on to discounts and add-ons. How do you confidently ask if you can use a coupon or perhaps redeem your loyalty points from their app?
Okay, for discounts, you straightforwardly ask, can I use this coupon? Or can I use my points?
Simple enough. What's the difference between a coupon and points, generally?
A coupon usually refers to a digital or paper voucher that provides a specific discount on a purchase like $2 off or buy one, get one free. Points are typically accumulated through loyalty programs specific to that brand or chain, which you can then redeem for free items, upgrades, or maybe different discounts.
And what about a voucher? Is that the same as a coupon?
Similar, but often a voucher is more specific. It might grant entitlement to a particular item or service that might have been pre-purchased or earned as a reward, like a voucher for a free coffee. Modern systems often use QR codes accessed via apps for digital coupons and loyalty points too, so you might just show your phone and ask, can I use this?
Right, scanning the app. Okay, and finally, what if you're looking to upgrade your order? Say, from a small drink to a medium, or add an extra ingredient like cheese or bacon. How do you inquire about the additional cost of such modifications?
This is a very common and practical question because, yes, most extras or upgrades will indeed come with an additional price tag. You typically ask, how much is it to add? Or how much is it to upgrade?
Can you give some examples?
Sure. You might ask, how much is it to upgrade my combo meal to a large? Or specific to ingredients, how much is it to add cheese to this burger? Or how much is it to add bacon? Even back in the cafe context, you might inquire, how much is it to add vanilla syrup to my coffee?
Because it probably isn't free.
Exactly. This connects directly to that fundamental economic principle. There's no such thing as a free lunch, meaning extras or premium additions almost universally come at an additional cost to you. It's always wise to ask first if you're trying to manage your budget.
And anyone who's ever considered adding avocado to their sandwich knows exactly how true that principle is.
Right. Avocado is the classic example.
The cost of those seemingly small add-ons can really accumulate quickly. So it's always a smart move to ask about the price up front. How much is it to add? Good phrase to remember. Okay, we've confidently navigated the efficient world of fast food drive-thrus. Now let's move into a much more sensory and often delightful experience. The art of ordering at a bakery.
Ah, yes. The smell of fresh bread.
Exactly. This is a place where the aroma of freshly baked goods fills the air, where freshness is absolutely paramount. And sometimes you need to make very specific requests or even describe something delicious you don't quite know the name of.
Absolutely. The bakery environment offers its own unique set of customer interactions, which very frequently revolve around that critical aspect of freshness or having the desire to specifically customize your order in some way. It's a place where precision in language can lead to a much more satisfying experience, getting exactly what you hoped for.
So when you're looking at that irresistible loaf of sourdough or that flaky croissant, how do you effectively confirm that it was baked fresh today? What's the most precise and natural way to ask about freshness? You don't want yesterday's bread if you're paying top dollar.
Right. You want the good stuff. The most precise and unambiguous way to ask is, was this bread made today? Or perhaps, was this baked fresh this morning?
More specific than just asking, is it fresh?
Yes, exactly. An even more direct question is, when was this bread made? While is it fresh is acceptable, it's actually less specific as the term fresh can be subjective.
How so?
Well, some might consider bread baked yesterday still technically fresh in a general sense, especially compared to bread that's several days old. But it's not today's fresh. Knowing the exact bake time is key for peak quality.
And what if it was baked yesterday? Is there a term for that?
Yes, if a bread was baked the previous day, it's very commonly referred to as day-old bread.
Day-old bread.
And you'll frequently find that sold at a discount. Now, pay attention to the pronunciation for day-old. It often sounds like day-old due to the natural blending of sounds in rapid speech.
Day-old, like one word almost.
Mm-hmm. It's a great opportunity for a bargain if you don't need something piping hot right from the oven. Maybe you're making French toast or bread pudding anyway.
Day-old bread. That's a fantastic pronunciation tip and a money-saving one, too.
Okay, what if you're buying multiple items, maybe a variety of pastries, but you want one of them specifically bagged separately? Perhaps it's a gift, or you just want to keep it from getting squished by the other items.
That's a very practical and common request. You would simply say, can I get the muffin in a separate bag, please? Or maybe, could I get this croissant in its own box, please, if they offer boxes?
Just asking for it separately.
Right. This is an incredibly useful phrase for gifts, for preventing delicate items from being crushed or mixed up with others, or simply for easier handling once you leave. And this particular phrasing is also perfectly applicable back in fast food settings, too.
Oh, yeah. How so? If, for example, you want one specific burger separated from the rest of your family's order for a particular reason, maybe an allergy concern, or just keeping things organized, it's a polite and very clear way to request individual packaging.
That makes perfect sense, especially for delicate items like pastries. Now, here's a fun one. You're standing at a bakery, everything looks absolutely incredible, maybe behind a glass counter, but you don't know the specific name of a particular pastry that's caught your eye. How do you ask about it? Do you just point, or is there a more eloquent way?
Pointing is actually very common, completely acceptable, and often necessary.
Really? It's okay to point.
Oh yeah. Native speakers frequently combine pointing with descriptive language. You might point to the item and say something like, "That one looks delicious, what is it?"
Okay, so pointing plus a question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That opens the door for the staff to tell you its proper name. But even more crucially, especially if you have allergies, dietary restrictions, or just strong preferences about ingredients.
You need to know what's in it.
Precisely. It's vital to follow up with what's in it, or what are the ingredients. This direct question prompts them to tell you about the components. Does it have nuts? Is there dairy? What kind of filling is that?
So you can effectively combine pointing with very clear visual descriptions, like the pink one, or the one with the strawberry on top, or maybe the one with the flaky crust and the creamy filling over there.
Exactly. That way, even without knowing the precise fancy French name, you can get all the information you need. Visual descriptions are immensely powerful in this context, especially in a sensory environment like a bakery where everything's right there on display.
And knowing what's in it is paramount for your health, safety, and just making sure you get something you'll actually enjoy.
Absolutely. It ensures you make an informed choice.
Lastly, what if you're planning a truly special occasion, like a milestone birthday, an anniversary, maybe an engagement party? How do you inquire about personalized orders, like a custom cake or specific decorated items?
Okay, for those special occasions requiring something unique and tailored, you would confidently ask, do you make custom cakes? Or maybe more specifically, can I order a custom birthday cake?
And what does custom mean in this context?
A custom cake is one where you, as the customer, have significant input and control over its design, the flavors used, the fillings, and the specific decorations.
So you get to choose how it looks and tastes.
Pretty much, within reason of what the bakery offers. This could involve everything from adding a specific name or age, incorporating edible pictures, choosing a particular theme like, superheroes or a favorite flower, or even specifying dietary requirements like vegan or gluten-free options if they offer that.
That sounds like a great way to get something really special.
It is. It's a wonderful way to get a truly personalized and memorable item for a significant celebration.
That's truly the joy of a custom order, isn't it? Knowing you can have something uniquely yours, perfectly tailored for that special moment. Wow, what an incredibly insightful journey we've taken through the fascinating art of ordering in English. We've meticulously covered everything from that rapid-fire morning cafe stop
All good.
to the more refined sit-down restaurant experience, the hyper-efficient drive-through,
Number 5, no pickles.
and the delightful sensory world of bakeries. We've meticulously unpacked specific essential phrases like, "I'll get a rock," and "Can you make it iced?" Explore the vital nuances of substitute versus remove, and even learned how to confidently ask about day-old bread
Or day-old bread.
or inquire about custom cakes.
Yeah.
Understanding these specific phrases, the subtle linguistic shifts, and the underlying cultural insights isn't just about sounding more fluent. It's about cultivating genuine confidence and ease in your everyday interactions.
It really is.
It truly is a shortcut to being deeply well-informed and comfortable in these incredibly common, yet often underestimated scenarios.
And beyond the phrases and structures themselves, always remember the profound value of, critical listening and astute observation. Actively pay attention to how native speakers use these very phrases in real-life contexts.
Watching and listening.
Exactly. Notice those subtle pronunciation shifts we discussed, like the efficient blending of sounds in "I'll get a" or that clear day old. Knowledge is most valuable when it's not just intellectually understood, but actively applied and integrated into your own communication.
Practice makes perfect, as they say.
It really does. Consistent practice, even in seemingly small daily interactions, will rapidly solidify these new skills and make them feel like second nature. Every single interaction is a fresh opportunity to refine your understanding and enhance your application. Don't be afraid to try them out.
Absolutely. So we extend our sincere thanks to you for joining us on this deep dive into conversational confidence. Go out there, actively apply what you've learned, and continue to explore the fascinating, ever-evolving world of language.
Keep learning.
And as you do, take a moment to consider this. How knowing these subtle yet powerful differences in ordering can not only dramatically improve your fluency and efficiency, but also subtly yet significantly change how others perceive your comfort, your confidence, and your overall cultural understanding in a new environment.
It's about more than just getting your coffee.
It's far more than just words. It's about making genuine connections. Until next time. Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever felt like you know English, like you've done the work, studied the grammar, memorized lists of words, but then when you actually try to speak naturally, something still feels, well, a bit off.
Yeah.
Like you're just missing that final piece, that aha moment that really connects you with native speakers.
Absolutely. And what's really fascinating here and what we're going to dive into today is that sounding natural isn't just about knowing dictionary definitions. It's much deeper than that.
Right.
It's about understanding the subtle dance of nuance, you know, the cultural weight, the feeling behind the phrases people use every single day without even thinking about it. And that brings up a big question, really. How do we get past just knowing a phrase to like truly feeling it, owning it, using it confidently so it sounds like you?
Exactly. And that's our mission for you today, to bridge that exact gap. We've got this incredible resource to guide us. It's a really comprehensive guide. Over 130 advanced English phrases, idioms, even some really current slang. It's all broken down by level, from the elementary stuff right up to master level fluency.
It's a fantastic resource.
Our goal for you listening right now is to give you a kind of shortcut to get you well-informed fast about these tricky bits of natural English. We'll cover surprising facts, maybe some unexpected cultural insights, and definitely practical ways you can start using these phrases confidently.
So you can really express yourself, sound natural, feel good about it.
Precisely. Okay, so we're going to start our deep dive with some phrases that maybe on the surface seem pretty basic. Elementary, even. You might even be thinking, oh yeah, I know that one. But as we'll see, even these foundational bits have layers, hidden meanings, feelings, specific ways they're used that maybe your textbook didn't quite cover.
Right. And getting these nuances down from the start is so important for that natural flow. Think of them like the basic bricks for building your language house.
Good analogy.
They look simple, right? But it's how you place them, the context that's the mortar that makes the whole thing feel solid, feel intuitive, feel, well, native. It's not just the what, it's the how and the why.
Makes perfect sense. So let's kick off with one we've definitely all used or heard. We've all been there. That moment you absolutely meant to do something and poof, gone.
Oh, totally. It slipped my mind.
Ugh.
It's such a useful little phrase, isn't it? It's a wonderfully polite way to say you forgot something unintentionally.
Unintentionally, that's key.
Exactly. It's an apology, yes, but it kind of softens the blow. It implies it was a genuine accident, like the thought literally just slipped away. Maybe you were busy, distracted.
Right, like water through your fingers.
Precisely. It carries that subtle hint of regret, maybe being a bit overwhelmed, which sounds much better than just a blunt, I forgot.
Yeah, I forgot. Can sound a bit harsh sometimes.
It can. So you'd use this if, say, you promised to call a friend last night, got totally swamped with something else, and it just vanished from your head. You'd say, oh, I meant to call, but it completely slipped my mind. It signals genuine oversight.
Okay, got it. So it's really about that accidental forgetting. Good. Next one. To make a difference. Seems straightforward, causing change. But the source highlights a really important nuance here.
It does, and this is subtle but really critical for sounding natural, especially, I think, in American English. While to make a difference does mean to cause change, it almost always carries this strong positive feeling.
Ah, positive. Okay.
Yeah, a positive change, a beneficial impact, usually intentional, too. You wouldn't really say, like, the hurricane made a difference to the coastline if you meant destruction. You'd use damaged or something.
Right, that would sound odd.
Very odd. Instead, it's about positive contribution. Think about environmental campaigns. Recycling really makes a difference, or charity appeals. Your donation will make a huge difference to families in need.
So it's motivating almost.
Exactly. It's empowering. It focuses on the positive outcome, the why behind the action. It suggests that even small actions can have a meaningful, beneficial effect.
I like that. It adds that layer of hope or optimism. Okay, how about to connect with someone? Definitely not talking about physical connection here, are we?
Haha, no, definitely not literal.
Ah,
This phrase is all about relationships, about interaction. To connect with someone means talking to them, yes. But more than that, it means getting along well, forming a real bond, maybe even a friendship.
building rapport.
Yeah, it's very close to that. Think about a really great teacher. They don't just lecture at you, right? They find ways to connect with their students. They learn their interests, maybe what's going on in their lives. It makes the whole experience better.
Makes learning easier, probably.
For sure. And what's interesting is you can use it negatively, too. Like, I tried talking to him, but I just don't connect with him.
Meaning no spark, no common ground.
Exactly. Lack of shared interest. Maybe the conversation just doesn't flow. There's no real bond forming. So it's about establishing that genuine understanding or noting its absence.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, for anyone who's ever split the bill or helped out with a group task, to chip in probably rings a bell, but it's given flexibility.
It does. To chip in means to contribute something. And you're right. Most often people think of money like everyone in the office is chipping in $5 for a birthday gift for the boss.
Classic office scenario.
Totally. It makes a collective effort easy. But crucially, you can also chip in with effort or work. If you're having a big dinner party and things are getting chaotic in the kitchen, you might yell out, "Hey, can someone chip in with washing these dishes?"
Asking for help, basically.
Yeah, asking for a contribution of effort. It's informal. Everyone understands it. It's about sharing the load, whether it's cost or work. The source actually mentioned this is super common in conversation, but maybe not taught formally, so it's a good one to know.
Definitely practical. Okay, from contributing, let's talk about delaying or stopping progress. To stall.
Stall. This one has two main flavors. First, you can stall on purpose. You're trying to delay something like, can you stall the professor for a minute? My presentation isn't loading. You're buying time.
Trying to create a delay.
Exactly. Or sometimes it implies someone is wasting time purposefully, like, stop stalling and just tell me what happened.
Okay, and the other meaning?
The other meaning is totally different. It's when a car engine suddenly stops working unexpectedly. You're driving along, and then sputter, sputter, silence. Oh no, my car just stalled in the middle of the intersection.
Right. Mechanical failure.
Yeah.
Very different.
Very different, yeah. Context tells you which one it is.
Got it. How about to keep something short? Sounds like being considerate.
It is. It's about brevity, about not taking up too much of someone's time. You might say it before giving a presentation. Okay, everyone, I'm going to keep this short, but I have some important updates.
Shows respect for their time.
Exactly. Or if you're telling a story and realize you're rambling, you might say, okay, to keep it short. It's useful in meetings, presentations, or just when you need to deliver key info quickly and efficiently.
Good one for work emails too, probably. Keeping it short. Okay, visiting someone unexpectedly, to pop in on someone.
Yeah, pop in. This implies a visit that's usually informal, often unexpected, and probably not for a super long time.
Like a surprise visit?
Kind of, yeah. It often suggests it wasn't planned weeks in advance, like I was in the neighborhood, so I thought I'd just pop in and say hi. Or maybe my parents just popped in on me this afternoon. I wasn't expecting them at all. It has that casual, spontaneous feel.
Okay, nice and formal.
Yeah.
Lastly, for this section, back to negativity. To hinder something. Sounds serious.
It definitely carries a negative weight. To hinder means to slow something down, make it more difficult, or sometimes even ruin it or make it impossible. It's always about creating obstacles or impeding progress.
So like external factors.
Often, yeah. Bad weather hindering your travel plans. Or maybe budget cuts hindering a research project. It could also be a person, though. Like if someone's lack of cooperation is hindering the team's success, it's always about making things harder.
Okay, here's where things get, I think, really interesting. We're moving up now, looking at phrases that add more depth, more sophistication to your English. These let you express more complex thoughts, feelings, nuances, really tap into that native-like flair.
Exactly. This next group of phrases, they start to peel back more of those cultural layers in the language. They're often less about a direct literal meaning and more about understanding implied ideas, subtle judgments, or even societal views. Getting these right is a big step up in fluency.
Right. Let's start with a word that seems simple, but has tricky connotations. Exotic.
Yes, exotic. Fundamentally, it means unusual, unfamiliar, maybe from a faraway place. Simple enough, right?
Seems so.
But the nuance is absolutely critical. While it means foreign, just slapping the label exotic onto people or entire cultures simply because they aren't, say, American or European can come across as rude.
How so?
Well, it can feel like you're reducing them to just being other, maybe even fetishizing their difference. It can sound a bit objectifying. However, it's perfectly fine, even positive, when you're talking about things like food, plants, music, experiences that are genuinely new and different to your experience.
Okay, so context is everything.
Totally. Saying, wow, this Thai fruit is so exotic and delicious is fine. It's appreciating something new. But describing a person as exotic just based on their appearance, that's where you need to be really careful. It's about appreciating novelty versus potentially stereotyping people.
That's a really important distinction. Okay, shifting gears to a phrase that touches on personal value and status. Beneath you. This sounds potentially loaded.
It can be. This phrase taps right into ideas about societal value, dignity, what work is considered important. When you say something is beneath you, you're implying it's not worthy of your time, skills, or status. You feel you're too good for it.
Like a task is too menial.
Exactly. Maybe a highly qualified engineer feels that making coffee for the team is beneath them. It suggests a sense of superiority, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But here's the interesting twist. It's often used in the negative as a statement of humility. Someone might say, look, I'll do whatever needs doing. No work is beneath me.
Showing respect for all kinds of work.
Precisely. It signals a rejection of that hierarchy, a willingness to roll up your sleeves. So this phrase really makes you think about how we value different jobs and people's contributions. It's quite provocative.
Fascinating how it works both ways. Okay, from perceived unworthiness to total commitment. All in.
Yeah, all in. This one's about full commitment, total dedication. When you say, I'm all in, you're signaling strong belief, enthusiastic support, often in a group context.
Like for a team project.
Perfect example. A new, risky plan is suggested, and you say, okay, I'm all in, let's do it. It's not just agreement, it's like, I'm fully invested, ready to give it my all-time energy, whatever it takes. It's very positive, very decisive.
A strong endorsement. Now, about building relationships, especially maybe in professional settings, to build rapport. It seems essential.
Oh, absolutely essential. To build rapport means establishing that foundation of trust, understanding, and just a comfortable connection with someone. You need it with coworkers, clients, neighbors, pretty much everyone.
How do people usually do it?
Well, good salespeople are masters at this, right? They chat about the weather, ask about your weekend, find some common ground before they pitch anything. They're building that connection first.
Makes sense.
But the source material makes a really sharp point here. It can sometimes feel, well, a bit slimy.
Slimy.
If it feels like someone, maybe that salesperson, is only building rapport as a trick, purely to manipulate you into buying something, not because they genuinely care. It highlights that critical difference between authentic connection and just superficial interaction for personal gain. Genuine versus calculated.
That's a really useful distinction to keep in mind. Okay, last one for this section. When something is creating a huge buzz, everyone's talking about it, it's the talk of the town.
Yeah, the talk of the town. This means something or someone is super popular, widely discussed, the hot topic within a specific community.
Does it have to be a literal town?
Not at all. That's the interesting part. It could be your office, your school, your book club, any group where something becomes the main subject of conversation. Maybe a new restaurant opens up and everyone's raving about it. That new place is the talk of the town. Or if there's some juicy gossip at work. Haha, yeah, that could also make someone the talk of the town. Though maybe not in a good way. It just captures that feeling of widespread local chatter and excitement, or maybe notoriety. All right, now we're getting into the really dynamic stuff. The living, breathing edge of the language, slang, modern idioms, phrases where meanings are shifting right now. Understanding these gives you a real window into current culture and how people, especially maybe younger people, are communicating informally.
Yeah, this is the fun stuff. It shows how language is constantly changing. Let's start with something delightfully dramatic you hear online a lot. I'm unwell.
Oh, this one is gold. And crucial point. You never use I'm unwell when you're actually physically sick.
Right, you'd say I'm sick or not feeling well.
Exactly. I'm unwell is pure performance. It's humorous, over the top, maybe a bit self-deprecating. It's how you express being completely shocked, ridiculously excited, or just utterly confused by something that hit you with strong emotion.
Like seeing something amazing or terrible.
Precisely. The source mentioned reacting to a crazy plot twist in a TV show that just blows your mind. Or seeing engagement photos that are so perfect they seem unreal, you'd gasp and say, oh my God, I'm unwell. It's like saying the emotion is so intense it's made you comically faint or distressed. All about that playful exaggeration.
Love it. Okay, another one that shifted meaning To yap, or yapping, used to be just for dogs, right?
Yeah, traditionally it was that annoying, high-pitched bark of a little dog, but recently, wow, its informal use has just exploded. Now it means people talking, often a lot, about things that aren't very serious, maybe even slightly annoying things.
Like idle chatter.
Kind of. You might be scrolling TikTok and see a video titled, "Just Gonna Yap for a Bit," where someone's just talking casually about their day, their thoughts, whatever. Or, if your coworkers are talking really loudly about celebrity gossip nearby, you might mutter to a friend, "Ugh, can they stop yapping over there?"
So it can be a bit negative.
It can imply annoyance, yeah. It's very informal, definitely use it with people you know well, but it perfectly captures that sense of ongoing, maybe slightly trivial talk.
Okay, sticking with modern feelings, to give someone the ick. This describes such a specific, almost gut reaction.
It really does. It's incredibly precise slang. Giving someone the ick is that sudden, often inexplicable loss of attraction or feeling of disgust towards someone because of something they did or said.
And it can be something small, right?
Totally random sometimes. Maybe someone you thought was cool starts using baby talk or constantly flexing about money or chews with their mouth open and bam, you just get the ick. It's this visceral, cringy feeling that instantly turns you off.
And you can't always explain why.
Often you can't. That's the key. It's not always a logical judgment. It's just this immediate, powerful feeling of nope. Very personal, very subjective.
Fascinating. Okay, how about acknowledging the original, the best, the legendary? The OG.
The OG stands for original gangster, obviously, but its everyday use now is much broader and usually complimentary. It means the original, the authentic, the first, or sometimes even the greatest of all time, the GOAT.
So you could say,
Like Michael Jordan, he's the OG GOAT of basketball. Or talking about music, that band is the OG of punk rock. Or even for products, Nike is the OG when it comes to cool sneakers.
so it's a sign of respect.
Yeah, definitely. It's informal, often affectionate, but it signals respect for something or someone being foundational, authentic, or just the undisputed best in their field.
Cool. Now this next one plays with grammar in a really fun way. It's giving vibe adjective.
Oh, this is peak modern slang. Super versatile, very common, especially online and among younger speakers. It basically means something is emitting a certain vibe, impression, or aesthetic.
And grammar is flexible.
Totally flexible. That's the fun part. You stick adjectives, nouns, even people's names after giving where they wouldn't normally fit grammatically. Like someone walks in wearing a super classy outfit, you might say, "Wow, it's giving very chic."
Or if something seems poorly done.
Yeah. Like, this presentation slide, it's giving rushed homework. Or it can be a huge compliment. Her singing was incredible. It was giving Beyonce. It's all about capturing that overall feeling, that immediate impression something creates.
Very expressive. Okay, switching to mental states. Lives rent-free in my head. What's going on there?
Haha, this is for those thoughts you just can't shake. When something lives rent-free in your head, it means it's constantly occupying your thoughts, often when you don't want it to. Could be something annoying, embarrassing, or just incredibly catchy.
Like an earworm song.
Perfect example. Or that awkward thing you said 5 years ago that still makes you cringe. The idea is it's taken up residence in your brain, like an unwanted tenant, and it's not paying any rent. It's just there, persistently nagging you.
We've all got those tenets. Okay, a nonverbal cue turned verbal. Side eye.
Yeah, this is great. The side eye is that sideways glance you give someone when you think what they're doing or saying is weird, questionable, rude, or just generally worthy of judgment.
But now people say side eye.
Exactly. Instead of just doing it, you can say, okay, I'm giving her the side eye right now because that comment was just so unnecessary. Or even major side eye to that decision. It verbally signals that quiet disapproval or judgment.
Like a spoken emoji, almost.
Ew.
Okay, moving quickly towards something. To make a beeline.
Make a beeline. Imagine how a bee flies straight and direct to the flower, right? Right? That's the feeling. When you make a beeline for something, you move directly and quickly towards it, usually with strong motivation or purpose. You're not meandering. Like after a long hike, you might make a beeline for the water fountain. Or think about Black Friday salespeople, make a beeline for the discounted TVs. There's a clear target and determined movement towards it.
Got it. Straight and fast. Now, escaping consequences. To get off scot-free.
Right, get off scot-free. This means doing something wrong, maybe unethical, maybe illegal, and facing absolutely zero negative consequences. No punishment, no penalty.
Does it imply unfairness?
Often, yes. It's frequently used when people feel that someone, perhaps someone wealthy or powerful, has avoided accountability for something serious. But it can also be used more lightly, like, I totally forgot to do my chores, but my parents didn't notice, so I got off scot-free this week.
So getting away with something.
Exactly. Escaping the consequences, whether deserved or not. It really begs the question, how often do we see that happen, you know?
Good question. Okay, finally meeting someone you've only known virtually. To put a name to the face.
Yeah, this is such a common and useful phrase in our digital world. You use it when you finally meet someone in person after you've only interacted with them online, over the phone, via email, or maybe you've just heard a lot about them from a mutual friend.
Like, nice to finally put a name to the face.
Exactly that. You know their name, maybe their voice, maybe their emails or stories about them, but now you're seeing their actual face. It connects the different pieces of information you had about them. Very common when meeting colleagues you've only emailed, for instance.
Makes sense. What about finding something funny or enjoyable to get a kick out of it?
Yeah, get a kick out of something. This means you find it amusing, entertaining, or enjoyable, often in a lighthearted way. It usually implies something makes you smile or laugh.
So not for serious appreciation.
Generally not. Like, you probably wouldn't say you get a kick out of someone giving you a thoughtful, expensive gift. That needs a stronger word like appreciate or love. But you might get a kick out of watching your cat chase a laser pointer or seeing a really funny TikTok dance. It's for things that provide amusement.
Okay, amusement factor.
Yeah.
And when information doesn't stick, it went in one ear and out the other.
Oh, classic. This means you heard something, but it was immediately forgotten or not retained at all, usually because you weren't really listening or paying attention.
Can you use it about yourself?
Absolutely. Sorry, what did you say? I was distracted. It just went in one ear and out the other. Or you can use it about someone else. I told him 3 times, but it clearly went in one ear and out the other. It implies zero retention of the information.
We've all been guilty of that. How about feeling just slightly annoyed? Miffed.
Miffed. It's a great little word. It means you're slightly annoyed, irritated, or perhaps a bit put out, but not like furious or deeply upset. It's low-level annoyance.
So minor irritations.
Exactly. Maybe your neighbors were playing music a little too loud last night and you woke up feeling a bit miffed. Or perhaps you weren't invited to a casual get-together your friends had. You might feel miffed about being left out. It's informal and conveys that mild level of displeasure.
Good nuance. Something that surprises you and changes your view. Eye-opening.
Eye-opening. This describes an experience or piece of information that is surprising and significantly changes your perspective or understanding of something. It makes you see things in a new way.
Can it be positive or negative?
Both, definitely. Learning about, say, the shocking statistics of food insecurity in your own city could be a really negative but important eye-opening experience. Or, conversely, discovering a new author whose work completely changes how you think about literature could be a positive, eye-opening moment. It's about that shift in awareness.
That moment of realization. Okay, simple but useful. All set.
All set, very common, means ready, prepared, or sometimes complete or finished. It's often interchangeable with ready.
Like ready to go.
Yeah. Are you all set to leave? Or if you're preparing for bad weather, we've got water and batteries, I think we're all set. At a restaurant, when the waiter asks if you need anything else, you might say, nope, we're all set, thanks. Meaning you're finished or don't need anything more right now.
Versatile. What about past relationships? To have a history with someone.
Ooh, have a history. This usually implies more than just knowing someone for a long time. It suggests there's a problematic past, maybe some unresolved issues, conflict, or baggage between two people.
So not just shared memories, but negative ones.
Often, yeah. Even if they're civil now, saying, oh, they have a history, hints that there were difficulties or drama in the past that could potentially resurface. It adds a layer of caution or complexity to their current relationship.
Good to know. Provoking someone intentionally. To bait someone.
Exactly. Baiting. Just like putting bait on a hook to catch a fish. When you bait someone, you're deliberately trying to provoke them, to get them angry, annoyed, or maybe to say something they'll regret.
How does it usually happen?
Maybe someone knows you have strong political views, so they intentionally bring up a controversial topic just to get a rise out of you. They're baiting you into an argument. It's often seen as a manipulative or childish tactic.
Trying to start trouble. And ignoring someone or plans to blow someone off or blow something off.
Yeah, blowing someone off is ignoring them, maybe not texting back, flaking on plans without a good reason, basically treating them disrespectfully. He totally blew me off when I asked him about the project.
And blowing something up.
That means neglecting a responsibility or task, like, I really should do the dishes, but I think I'm just going to blow them off tonight and watch a movie. It implies shirking responsibility or ignoring something you should be doing. It always has a negative, dismissive feel.
Lack of consideration, basically. Recovering from something difficult. To get over something.
Get over something. This means to recover emotionally or physically from a negative experience, illness, or loss. To move on and stop being negatively affected by it.
Like a breakup.
Very common for breakups, yeah. It took her a long time to get over the relationship, but also for illnesses. He's finally getting over that bad cold, disappointments, the team needs to get over that tough loss, or even overcoming fear or sadness. It implies a process of healing and moving forward.
Okay. Being completely carefree. Not a care in the world.
Not a care in the world. This paints a picture of someone who is completely relaxed, happy, unburdened, and untroubled by problems or worries.
Usually positive.
Usually, yeah. Think of little kids playing happily on a summer day. They seem to have not a care in the world. But context matters. You could use it negatively to imply someone is foolishly ignorant or naive about serious issues happening around them. Tone is key here.
Right, context and tone again. The funny part of a joke. Punchline. But it has another meaning.
It does. Literally, yes, the punchline is the climax of a joke, the part that's supposed to make you laugh. But figuratively, a person or a group or even a country can be the punchline.
Meaning they're ridiculed.
Exactly. If people are constantly making jokes about a certain company's failures, that company has become the punchline. It means they're the object of ridicule or mockery, so it can be positive, a funny joke, or negative, being laughed at.
Checking for understanding. Are you with me?
Yeah, this isn't about physical location. It means, do you understand what I'm saying, or are you following my explanation?
Who uses this?
Teachers, professors giving lectures, maybe someone explaining a complex process. Okay, we adjust this setting here, then calibrate this. Are you with me so far? It's a way to check comprehension. Or someone might respond, yep, I'm with you, keep going, to confirm they understand.
Good check-in phrase. Avoiding something you don't want to do. To get out of doing something.
Get out of doing something. This means successfully avoiding a responsibility, an obligation, or maybe an invitation you didn't want to accept, often by making an excuse.
Like finding a loophole.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
The source mentioned the movie Four Christmases, where the couple tries to get out of family holiday gatherings by pretending they have to work. It's about maneuvering to avoid something undesirable.
We've all tried that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, lack of control versus control. I can't help it if I can help it.
This is a neat pair. I can't help it means I can't control this action or feeling. It's often used for involuntary things like, sorry, I keep coughing, I can't help it. Or maybe for a strong emotion. I know I shouldn't worry, but I can't help it.
And the other one?
If I can help it expresses determination to prevent something from happening if you have any control over the situation. He wants to visit next weekend, but he won't be staying here if I can help it. It shows a strong desire to control the outcome.
Okay, definite contrast there. Expressing huge admiration.
Mm-hmm.
To bow down to someone. Is this literal?
Almost never literal. It's a humorous, casual, often exaggerated way to express immense admiration for someone's incredible skill, talent, or achievement.
Like for amazing cooking.
Perfect example. Your friend makes the most incredible meal. You might say, oh my God, this is amazing. I bow down to your cooking skills. Or maybe someone has an incredible fashion sense. Seriously, I bow down to your style. It's playful high praise.
Nice. Initiating contact to reach out.
Reach out. Very common now means to communicate with someone, to initiate contact, often for help, support, or just to connect.
How is it used?
Broadly, you might tell someone going through a tough time, please reach out if you need anything. Or planning socially, hey, reach out to me next week if you're free to hang out. It usually implies sending a text, email, or making a call to start the conversation.
Good, versatile term. Extreme emphasis.
Yeah.
Beyond belief.
Yeah, beyond belief is used for emphasis to describe something that is incredibly good, beautiful, impressive, or, on the flip side, incredibly bad, rude, or disappointing. It intensifies the adjective.
So impressed beyond belief.
Exactly. Or beautiful beyond belief, but also rude beyond belief or disappointed beyond belief. It just flags something as being at an extreme level, whether positive or negative.
Powerful intensifier. Persuading someone not to do something, to talk someone out of something.
Right. When you try to talk someone out of doing something, you're trying to convince or persuade them not to do it, usually by giving reasons why it's a bad idea or risky.
Like quitting a job.
Classic example. His friend tried to talk him out of quitting his job without having another one lined up. It's about dissuasion, presenting the counter-arguments.
Got it. Someone highly motivated, a go-getter.
A go-getter. This is a very positive term for someone who is highly motivated, ambitious, proactive, and actively pursues their goals. They don't wait around, they make things happen.
Good quality for a job interview.
Definitely. Saying you're a go-getter signals drive and initiative. The source even mentioned that learning a new language makes you a go-getter. You're actively pursuing self-improvement. It's all about that proactive energy.
I like that, being determined to set your mind to something.
When you set your mind to something, it means you become very serious, focused, and determined to achieve a specific goal. It implies strong willpower and readiness to make sacrifices if needed.
Like, nothing will stop you.
That's the feeling. She can achieve anything she sets her mind to. It can also mean being very firm in an opinion or decision, like being difficult to persuade otherwise. He set his mind on moving, and nothing we say will change it.
Strong determination.
Yeah.
Innate talent.
Yeah.
Natural-born skill.
Natural born. This is a compliment suggesting someone is inherently talented or gifted at something, almost as if they were born with the skill. It seems effortless for them.
Examples.
He's a natural-born leader. She's a natural-born artist. What a fantastic storyteller, just a natural-born talent. It implies the skill comes very easily and naturally to them.
High praise indeed. Just missing a goal. To fall short of a goal.
Yeah, fall short. This is a slightly softer, more gentle way to say you didn't quite achieve a goal or meet a target. You were close, but you just missed it.
Softer than failed.
Definitely softer than failed, or even missed the goal. You might use it for personal goals, like, I fell short of my marathon time goal by just 2 minutes. Or for professional targets, the team fell short of the quarterly sales goal. It acknowledges the near miss without sounding overly harsh.
Okay. Being troubled by the past.
Wow.
Haunted by something.
Haunted by something. This implies being disturbed, preoccupied, or persistently troubled by negative thoughts, regrets, or traumatic memories from the past. It's like a ghost that won't leave you alone.
Like a bad decision.
Exactly. Someone might be haunted by the decision they made years ago, or maybe they witnessed an accident and are haunted by the memory. It suggests a persistent, nagging, negative feeling or image related to a past event.
Very evocative. Making the necessary effort. To put the work in, put the effort in.
Yeah, these are straightforward but very common. Putting the work in or putting the effort in simply means working hard, exerting the necessary time and energy to achieve something.
Essential for goals.
Absolutely. You can accomplish almost anything if you're willing to put the work in. It's often used to contrast with wishing or wanting. It also applies to smaller things. I didn't feel like putting the effort in to get dressed up for the party. It's about exertion.
Makes sense. When something sounds easy but isn't, easier said than done.
Oh, this one is so relatable. Easier said than done is used for tasks, goals, or advice that sound simple in theory but are actually quite difficult to achieve or implement in practice.
Like quitting social media.
Perfect example. Or just relax before a big exam. Or stay calm during an argument. All sound easy, but actually doing them, much harder. It acknowledges the practical difficulty behind a simple instruction.
Very true. The power of determination. Where there's a will, there's a way.
This is a classic proverb. It means if you have a strong enough desire, determination, or willpower, the will, you will find a method or solution, the way, to achieve your goal, even if it seems difficult or impossible.
Very optimistic and ambitious.
It is. It emphasizes the power of determination to overcome obstacles. It suggests that resourcefulness and persistence can find solutions where none seem obvious.
Inspiring. Informal emphasis. A heck of a noun.
This is an informal way to add emphasis, meaning something is very impressive, difficult, significant, or just generally noteworthy.
Like a heck of a job.
Yeah, meaning a very good job or maybe a very difficult job. That was a heck of a workout. Very difficult. Those are a heck of a pair of shoes. Very impressive. It's pretty versatile and used across generations, adds a bit of informal punch.
Okay. Someone resilient. A trooper.
A trooper. This is a nice, somewhat old-fashioned, but still common slang term for someone who endures a difficult, challenging, or unpleasant situation with resilience, patience, and without complaining much.
Like kids on a long car ride.
Exactly. Or the source mentioned a child sitting patiently in a double stroller while their parent goes for a long run. She was such a trooper. It praises their endurance and good attitude in a tough spot.
Sweet compliment. Finding the drive to do something.
Yeah.
Find the motivation.
Yeah, finding the motivation. This usually relates to tasks we know we should do or that are good for us, but we struggle to actually start or continue them. Things like cleaning the house, exercising, eating healthy.
Overcoming procrastination.
Pretty much, yeah. It implies needing to overcome inertia or laziness to get started on something beneficial. I know I need to study, but I just can't find the motivation today.
Relatable again. Putting time or effort into something. To invest in something. Beyond money.
Yes, absolutely. While literally you invest money, figuratively, Americans especially often talk about investing time or effort into something. It treats time and effort like valuable resources you allocate strategically.
Big example.
The source mentioned investing in warmer exercise clothes to make winter running more bearable. You're putting resources, money in that case, towards enabling an activity. Or you might invest time in learning a new skill or invest effort in a relationship.
Treating time like money. Okay? Top quality, top of the line.
Top of the line. This refers to the best quality, most advanced, or most expensive version of a product available. The highest tier.
Like for electronics or cars.
Definitely. But also shoes, furniture, winter gear, appliances. If you buy the top of the line model, you're getting the one with all the features, the best materials, a premium version.
Got it. Getting dressed warmly. To get bundled up.
Get bundled up. This means putting on many layers of warm clothing, hats, scarf, gloves, thick coat to protect yourself from cold weather.
Like preparing for snow.
Exactly. Okay, kids, get bundled up. It's freezing outside. You can also use it for babies wrapped snugly in blankets. It evokes that image of being heavily layered for warmth.
Cozy image. Feeling very excited. Pumped.
Pumped just means very excited, enthusiastic, and full of energy about something that's going to happen. It's common slang.
Like for a concert or good news.
Totally. I'm so pumped for the concert tonight. Or she was really pumped about getting the job offer. It conveys high energy and anticipation.
Simple and effective. Expressing extreme excitement. I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah. This structure is a great natural way to express the absolute peak of an emotion. I couldn't be more excited. Means you are at the maximum possible level of excitement.
So it's emphatic.
Very emphatic, but sounds completely natural. We're going on vacation. Oh my gosh, I couldn't be happier. It strongly conveys that intense positive feeling.
Good one to use. Disappointment. A bummer. A letdown.
These are more idiomatic, casual ways to express disappointment. A bummer is something unfortunate or disappointing. Oh, the party was canceled. That's a bummer.
And a letdown.
Similar, maybe slightly stronger. Something that failed to meet expectations and caused disappointment. The movie was okay, but kind of a letdown after all the hype. You can also say I'm bummed as an adjective. They're less formal than saying I'm disappointed.
Okay, casual disappointment. Something happening quickly, in no time.
In no time. This means very quickly or surprisingly faster than you might have expected. It doesn't literally mean zero time has passed.
Like faster than anticipated.
Exactly. Don't worry. Dinner will be ready in no time. Or looking back, wow, the kids grew up in no time. Or maybe you expected a long wait at a restaurant, but we got a table in no time. It emphasizes the speed.
Useful phrase. Praising a perfect performance. You nailed it.
You nailed it. This is slang, but very common, meaning you did that perfectly, you did an excellent job.
For presentations or fixing something.
Both. Great presentation, you totally nailed it. Or if someone successfully fixes your computer, wow, thanks, you nailed it. It's a strong, informal compliment for successful execution.
Okay. Having limited money on a tight budget.
On a tight budget. This is a polite, somewhat softened way to say that you don't have a lot of money to spend right now. You have to be careful with your spending.
More polite than saying, I'm poor.
Much more polite and common in everyday conversation. We're thinking about buying a car, but we're on a pretty tight budget. It explains financial constraints without oversharing or sounding overly negative.
Good social nuance. Very expensive. To cost a fortune.
Costs a fortune. This means something is very, very expensive. It often involves exaggeration for effect.
Like for housing or maybe just groceries now.
Haha, yeah. Sadly, groceries might feel like they cost a fortune these days. Or buying a house in a major city definitely costs a fortune. It emphasizes the extremely high price.
Got it. High anticipation. I can't wait.
I can't wait. This is a common, slightly dramatic, but usually genuine way to express strong excitement and anticipation for something you're really looking forward to.
Like a vacation or seeing someone.
Exactly. I can't wait for summer vacation, or I can't wait to see you. You can even shorten it to just can't wait in texts or casual speech. It conveys that eagerness.
Enthusiastic agreement. I'm all for it.
I'm all for it. This means you are in complete agreement with an idea, plan, or suggestion. You fully support it.
Stronger than just, I agree.
Yeah, it shows more enthusiasm and complete buy-in. You want to order pizza tonight, I'm all for it. Or they're proposing a new park, I'm all for that. Full endorsement.
Certainty of truth. There's no doubt about it.
There's no doubt about it. Use this when you strongly agree with a statement or opinion, or you're absolutely certain something is true. It's a very natural, strong way to express agreement or certainty.
More natural than just that's true.
Often, yeah. It adds more conviction. This is the best coffee in town. Oh, there's no doubt about it. It leaves no room for questioning.
Okay. Politely declining or saying you're busy, now is not the best time.
This is a wonderfully soft and indirect way to say no, or I'm busy right now. It's much less harsh than a direct refusal.
So it implies maybe later.
Often, yeah. If someone asks for help when you're swamped, saying, now is not the best time, implies you might be able to help later, assuming it's not an emergency. It cushions the rejection.
Very useful socially. Pausing something temporarily. To put something on hold. Put something on hold. This means to pause an activity, a conversation, or a project temporarily, with the intention of returning to it later.
Like on the phone.
Classic example. Can I put you on hold for just a moment? But also for projects. We had to put the expansion plans on hold due to budget cuts. It signals a temporary stop, not cancellation.
Confirming you'll do something immediately. I'm on it.
I'm on it. Short, casual, and effective. It means I'm taking care of that right now, or I will do that immediately. Like a quick confirmation.
Exactly. Hey, can you check if the oven is off? Oh yeah, I'm on it. It confirms you've heard the request and are acting on it promptly.
Making something lower priority. To put it on the back burner.
Put it on the back burner. This means to delay working on something or make it a lower priority for the time being, usually because other things are more urgent or important. You intend to come back to it eventually, but not right now.
Like a less important project.
Yeah. We have a great idea for a new marketing campaign, but we have to put it on the back burner until after the product launch. It's deprioritized, but not forgotten.
Managing many things simultaneously. To juggle a lot of things at once.
Juggling a lot. This is a figurative expression, obviously, like a circus juggler keeping multiple balls in the air. It means you're managing many different tasks, responsibilities, or commitments at the same time.
Like work, family, study.
Exactly. She's juggling a full-time job, 2 kids, and evening classes right now. It emphasizes being very busy and managing multiple demanding roles simultaneously.
Advising against hasty decisions. Don't jump the gun.
Don't jump the gun. This idiom advises someone not to act or make a decision too quickly, prematurely, or before it's necessary or wise. It comes from the idea of starting a race before the starting gun fires.
So be patient.
Essentially, yes. Wait for the right moment, gather all the information, don't rush into things. Let's not jump the gun and book the venue before we finalize the guest list. It counsels patience to avoid mistakes.
Good advice. Expressing strong certainty. I'm 100% certain. I'm willing to bet on it. I would bet my life on it.
These are all ways to express conviction, ranging in intensity. I am 100% certain is common and clear. I'm willing to bet on it is more informal, showing strong belief.
And bet my life.
That's extreme, hyperbolic. I would bet my life on it, or sometimes bet my kids on it. You're expressing absolute, unwavering certainty, even if it's an exaggeration. It means you have zero doubt.
Okay, escalating certainty. High probability, chances are.
Chances are. This is a very common and natural way to say it is highly likely, or it is probable.
Like predicting the weather.
Yeah. It looks cloudy. Chances are it will rain later. Or, he didn't study much, so chances are he didn't pass the test. It indicates a strong likelihood based on current evidence.
Strong belief. I'm convinced that.
I'm convinced that. Use this to express a strong, deeply held belief or opinion, often something personal or based on your own observations or deductions, even if you can't absolutely prove it.
Example.
After watching them film everything, I'm convinced that they never actually watch those videos later. Or, I'm convinced that taking a short walk every day improves my mood. It signals a firm personal belief.
A good opportunity. A good
Yeah.
chance.
Yeah, a good chance can simply mean a good opportunity. It's perhaps a bit more informal or casual than saying opportunity.
Like a chance to meet someone.
Exactly. The conference is a good chance to network with people in the industry. Or this internship is a good chance to get some real-world experience. It highlights the potential benefits.
Strong relationship.
Yeah.
Very close. They're close.
When you describe two people as very close or just close, it means they have a strong, intimate relationship. They get along well, trust each other, share things, know each other deeply.
For friends or family.
Both. You could say siblings are very close, or two friends who have known each other forever are really close. It signifies a strong emotional bond.
Losing connection over time.
To have lost touch.
Lost touch. This means that two people who used to be close or communicate regularly no longer do so. Their relationship has faded, often due simply to time, distance, or changing lives.
Seek old school friends.
Very common scenario. I've lost touch with most of my friends from high school. It implies a gradual drifting apart, not necessarily a specific conflict.
Okay. Extreme tiredness. Completely wiped out.
Wiped out, a very common idiom meaning extremely tired, exhausted, drained of all energy.
After physical activity or a long day.
Both. I ran a marathon yesterday, I'm completely wiped out today. Or after that week of intense meetings, I was just wiped out by Friday.
It conveys total exhaustion.
Expressing emotional difficulty. I'm struggling.
I'm struggling. While it can mean struggling with a task, it's also a very common, though less direct, way to express that you're having a hard time emotionally. Experiencing sadness, stress, or difficulty coping.
Softer than saying, I'm depressed.
Often, yes. It's a way to signal significant emotional distress without necessarily using clinical terms. How are you doing? Honestly, I'm struggling a bit right now. It invites empathy and understanding.
Okay, moving into another fascinating category. Some phrases are more than just, ways to say something. They feel like distilled wisdom, little nuggets of advice passed down, maybe for generations. These are the idioms that often carry real-life lessons.
Absolutely. This group of phrases often taps into universal human experiences, strategic thinking, or just plain common sense. They offer guidance wrapped up in memorable imagery, helping us navigate everything from finances to relationships to managing expectations. They're like mini parables.
Mini parables, I like that. Let's start with a truly classic piece of advice, especially about risk. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
The cornerstone of diversification. It literally advises you not to risk everything you have by relying entirely on a single option, plan, or investment.
Because if you drop the basket.
Exactly. You lose everything. Its origins are that simple and visual. It's fundamental in finance. Don't put all your money in one stock. But it applies much more broadly.
Like in career choices.
Definitely. Don't bet your entire future on one specific job opportunity working out. Have backup plans. Don't rely solely on one client for your business. It's about spreading risk, building resilience, making sure a single failure doesn't wipe you out.
Sound advice. Now, shifting responsibility or the turn to act, the ball is in your court.
This comes straight from racket sports like tennis or volleyball. When the ball is in your court, it's your turn to hit it back, right? Your responsibility to make the next move.
So it means it's someone else's turn.
Precisely. You've done your part, made your proposal, sent the email, whatever. Now it's up to the other person to respond, decide, or take action. I sent them the contract last week, so the ball is in their court now. It clearly signals where the responsibility for the next step lies.
Useful in negotiations, I bet?
Very common in business and negotiations, yeah.
Okay. Finding the good in the bad. A blessing in disguise.
This describes something that seems negative or unfortunate at first glance, but later turns out to have unexpectedly good consequences. It's about hidden benefits emerging from apparent setbacks.
Like losing a job.
That's a classic example. Maybe losing a job you didn't even like pushes you to find your dream career. Or maybe missing out on one opportunity saves you from a much worse situation down the line that you couldn't have foreseen. It encourages looking for the positive outcomes that only become clear later on. Optimism through hindsight, almost.
A hopeful perspective. Facing something unpleasant with courage. To bite the bullet.
Yeah. This idiom is all about resilience and facing necessary hardship. It means enduring a painful or unpleasant situation bravely, usually because you have to or because it will lead to a better outcome.
And the origin is grim.
Very grim. It supposedly comes from surgery before anesthesia, where soldiers would literally bite a lead bullet to cope with the pain.
Wow.
So today, we use it for less dramatic but still unpleasant things we just have to get through. Going to the dentist, having that difficult conversation, finishing a really tedious but necessary task. It's about steeling yourself and doing what needs to be done, despite the discomfort.
Facing it head on. Okay, starting conversations in awkward situations. To break the ice.
Breaking the ice means initiating conversation or interaction, especially in a new social or professional setting where people might feel awkward or don't know each other. It's about making the atmosphere more relaxed and friendly.
How do people do that?
Simple things. Telling a joke, asking a general question, how's everyone finding the conference? Giving a compliment. Those structured icebreaker activities at meetings or workshops, they exist solely to break the ice and get people talking.
Making things less awkward. Finding the positive in any bad situation. Every cloud has a silver lining.
This is a very optimistic idiom. It means that even in a difficult, negative, or sad situation, the cloud, there is always some positive aspect or reason for hope. The silver lining.
Always something good.
That's the idea. Sometimes you have to look hard for it. Often people shorten it to just there's always a silver lining. Maybe being stuck at home sick, the cloud, means you finally have time to read that book you've wanted to finish. The silver lining. It encourages finding the upside.
A positive outlook. Actions versus words. Actions speak louder than words.
A fundamental truth about human behavior. This means what people actually do is a much better indicator of their character, intentions, or feelings than what they simply say. Promises are easy. Follow through is what matters.
Like if someone says they're your friend but never else.
Exactly. Their actions, or lack thereof, speak louder than their words of friendship. It emphasizes judging people based on their behavior, not just their claims.
Very true. Getting something exactly right. To hit the nail on the head.
This is a strong compliment. It means you have described or identified something absolutely, perfectly, precisely, or correctly. You've pinpointed the exact issue or truth.
Like solving a problem accurately.
Yes, or offering a really insightful analysis. If someone explains exactly why a project failed, you might say, yes, you totally hit the nail on the head. It praises their accuracy and insight.
A great compliment to receive. Seeing only a small part of a bigger problem. The tip of the iceberg.
This metaphor, famously linked to the Titanic, means that what you are currently aware of is only a small, visible fraction of a much larger, more complex, and often hidden problem or situation.
Implying there's much more underneath.
Exactly. And usually what's underneath is the more significant or dangerous part. Discussing one instance of corruption might just be the tip of the iceberg if it points to widespread systemic issues. It warns that the problem is bigger than it appears.
A cautionary phrase. Achieving two things with one action. To kill two birds with one stone.
This means accomplishing two separate goals or solving two different problems with a single effort or action. It's about efficiency.
Like walking to the store.
That's the classic example. You need groceries and you want some exercise. Walking to the store kills two birds with one stone. You shop and you exercise simultaneously. It's about finding that efficient overlap.
Smart multitasking. Not getting hopes up too soon. Don't count your chickens before they hatch.
Another piece of timeless wisdom. It means don't rely on something positive happening or assume success or make plans based on a future outcome before it's absolutely certain and finalized.
Like spending money before you get paid.
Exactly. Or planning the wedding details before you're even engaged. It advises against premature celebration or assumption because things might not turn out the way you expect. Wait until the chickens have actually hatched.
Manage expectations. Something very easy. A piece of cake.
Super common idiom. If something is a piece of cake, it's incredibly easy to do. Effortless.
Like an easy test?
Yeah, that exam was a piece of cake. Or maybe fixing a simple problem. Don't worry, setting up the printer is a piece of cake. Often used almost humorously for something surprisingly simple.
Okay. Working late. Burning the midnight oil.
This phrase means working or studying late into the night. The midnight oil refers to the oil used in lamps before electricity.
Implies hard work or dedication.
Usually, yeah. Often implies working hard to meet a deadline or finish a big project. We were burning the midnight oil all week to get the report finished on time. It suggests long, late hours of effort.
Great things take time. Rome wasn't built in a day.
A reminder for patience. It means that important, complex, or significant achievements require a lot of time and effort. They don't happen quickly.
Comforting for learners.
Very much so, especially for language learners who get frustrated with slow progress. Learning English takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day. It encourages persistence and acknowledges that valuable things require patience.
Revealing a secret. To let the cat out of the bag. To spill the beans.
These two mean basically the same thing. To reveal a secret, often accidentally, or to disclose surprise information prematurely.
Like ruining a surprise party.
Exactly. Someone might accidentally let the cat out of the bag about the surprise party. Or if someone is trying to keep their pregnancy quiet for a while, a friend might accidentally spill the beans before they're ready to announce it. Don't spill the beans is a common warning to keep quiet.
Okay, keeping secrets safe. Can't have two conflicting good things. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
This means you cannot simultaneously enjoy two desirable but mutually exclusive options or benefits. You have to choose.
Like saving money and spending it.
Perfect example. You can't aggressively save money and constantly buy expensive things. Or you can't expect to travel the world constantly and hold down a demanding, high-paying job that requires you to be in the office. It highlights that choices often involve trade-offs.
Life's trade-offs. Better late arrival than no arrival. Better late than never.
This means it's preferable for someone to arrive or for something to happen, even if it's significantly delayed, than for it never to happen at all.
It can be supportive or slightly critical.
Exactly. If a friend finally shows up to your party an hour late, you might say warmly, "Hey, better late than never, glad you made it." Or, if your roommate finally learns to cook at age 30, you might say it with a slightly teasing, snarky tone. Context is key.
When bad things happen all at once. When it rains, it pours.
This idiom describes the phenomenon where, when one bad thing happens, it feels like a whole series of other misfortunes or problems occur simultaneously or in quick succession.
Like a streak of bad luck.
Yeah. You lose your job, then your car breaks down, then you get sick, all in the same month. You'd sigh and say, wow, when it rains, it pours. It captures that feeling of being overwhelmed by multiple concurrent problems.
Finally, consequences match actions. You reap what you sow.
A profound statement about cause and effect, using a farming metaphor. Sowing is planting seeds. Reaping is harvesting the crop. It means the results you get in life, reap, are a direct consequence of the actions you take or the effort you put in. So
hard work leads to success.
That's the positive side. Good actions yield good results. But it also implies negative actions lead to negative consequences. It emphasizes personal responsibility and the direct link between our choices and our outcomes. Hard work and ethical behavior are important for positive results.
Okay, for our final section, let's tackle some real linguistic puzzles. These are phrases where the literal meaning is just the starting point. The real meaning can shift dramatically, sometimes even flipping completely, depending on the context, the tone of voice, the situation. This is where you really have to listen between the lines.
This is absolutely fascinating territory. It really showcases the richness and, let's be honest, the occasional trickiness of English. Tone, situation, implied emotion, they can utterly transform what a phrase means. It really demands active, nuanced listening.
Let's start with the big one. I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Literally, it's simple disbelief. But the source shows it can be, astonishingly, a way to show deep appreciation.
It's such a powerful example of this. Literally, yes, it's disbelief. Someone says they saw a unicorn. I don't believe you. Simple.
Right.
But change the tone, add some awe, maybe wide eyes. Someone does something incredibly kind, goes way above and beyond for you. You might gasp, oh my gosh, I don't believe you. Thank you so much. That's so incredibly helpful. Here, it means I can't believe how unbelievably nice, generous, thoughtful you are.
Wow, complete opposite.
Completely. And then flip it again. Use an angry or frustrated tone. Someone forgets something crucial you asked them to do. I don't believe you. I reminded you 3 times. That was so important. Now it means I cannot believe your carelessness, rudeness, forgetfulness.
So it covers the whole spectrum based on tone.
Exactly. Disbelief, amazement, gratitude, frustration, disappointment. All packed into those 3 words. You have to read the emotion and context.
That's incredible. Similarly, unreal can swing wildly from positive to negative.
Another perfect example of this duality. Positively unreal means something is so amazing, so cool, so beautiful, it seems almost unbelievable in its excellence. Standing on a mountaintop, wow, this view is unreal, means it's breathtaking.
The highest praise.
Right. But just like I don't believe you, use it with a frustrated or shocked tone after someone does something unacceptable. If your friend promises to bring snacks to the party and shows up empty-handed, you might say, unreal, you forgot the snacks. Now it expresses disbelief and disappointment at their failure. Same word, totally different emotional payload depending on context.
Definitely one to listen carefully for. Okay, signaling a shift in conversation. All jokes aside, money aside, feelings aside.
This is a really useful structure for managing conversations and clarifying focus. All jokes aside is probably the most common. You use it to signal you're moving from a lighthearted or humorous part of the conversation to a serious point. Okay. All jokes aside for a second, we really need to figure this out.
Sets the stage for seriousness.
Exactly. Money aside lets you discuss a hypothetical situation without financial constraints. Money aside, what's your dream car? And feelings aside indicates a deliberate choice to prioritize logic or practicality over emotions, often in a tough decision. Look, feelings aside, the numbers just don't work for this plan. It's a way to set conditions or change the tone explicitly.
Very clear conversational tool. Now, this comparison is subtle but crucial. To go as planned went smoothly versus as well as can be expected. They sound similar, but imply very different things.
Worlds apart, really, in their underlying message. Go as planned or went smoothly. These are straightforwardly positive. Success, no major hiccups. The event went smoothly. Great turnout. Simple. Good news.
Okay. And the other one,
As well as can be expected, almost always carries an undercurrent of difficulty or negativity. It's used when things probably didn't go well, but the outcome wasn't worse than anticipated given the challenging circumstances.
like after a bad night before an interview.
Perfect example. How was the interview? It went as well as can be expected. Implies it wasn't great, but maybe not a total disaster considering you felt awful. It's very often used in sensitive situations, like talking about someone who is seriously ill. How is she doing? She's doing as well as can be expected. It acknowledges the gravity without being overly blunt or falsely optimistic. It softens bad news.
That's a very important nuance for sensitive topics. Okay, stopping a failing effort. To cut your losses.
Cut your losses. This is a strategic decision. It means to stop investing time, money, or effort into something, a project, a business, maybe even a relationship that is clearly unsuccessful or failing in order to prevent further, greater losses.
Like quitting while you're behind.
Sort of, yeah. It's acknowledging that continuing is only going to make things worse. So the smartest move is to stop now, accept the losses incurred so far, and move on, rather than throwing more good money or time or effort after bad.
Makes sense. Bringing someone up to date, to get someone up to speed, to fill someone in.
These two are very similar and extremely common, especially at work or school. They both mean to provide someone with all the necessary information they've missed so they understand the current situation.
Like after missing a meeting.
Exactly. Can someone get me up to speed on what I missed in the meeting? Or let me fill you in on the latest developments. They both mean bringing someone current with the necessary information.
Useful. Oversharing personal details. TMI. Too much information.
TMI. Very common abbreviation used constantly in conversation and online. It's what you say or think when someone shares details that are overly personal, maybe gross, embarrassing, or just completely unnecessary and make you uncomfortable.
Like graphic medical details.
Definitely a TMI trigger for many. Or intricate details about someone's relationship problems or bodily functions. If someone starts going into way too much detail, you might interrupt with a quick, "Oh, okay, dude, TMI." It's a clear signal to stop oversharing.
A social boundary marker. Feeling groggy or having unclear memories. To be in a haze. Hazy memories.
Right. To be in a haze means feeling mentally foggy, groggy, tired, maybe confused, not thinking clearly. Jet lag can put you in haze. Waking up from a deep sleep can leave you in a haze for a bit.
And hazy memories.
Those are memories that are unclear, vague, indistinct. You remember bits and pieces, but the details are fuzzy. Childhood memories are often described as hazy. My memories of that vacation are pretty hazy now.
Okay. Daily routines. Day to day.
Day to day. This refers to your regular, typical daily life, schedule, or routine activities. It's often used when asking about someone's job or lifestyle.
Like what's your day to day like?
Exactly. What does your day-to-day look like in this role? It's asking about the typical tasks, responsibilities, and rhythm of their daily work or life.
Getting the undesirable leftovers. Table scraps. Literally food, but figuratively.
Right. Literally, table scraps are leftover bits of food from a meal, often given to pets. Figuratively, getting the table scraps means receiving only the undesirable leftovers, the least valuable opportunities, or the remnants after others have already taken the best parts.
Like in work assignments.
Yeah, someone might feel like they always get the boring tasks no one else wants. I feel like I just get the table scraps around here. It implies being given low value or leftover items or opportunities.
Okay, from the very beginning, from the get-go.
From the get-go, a very common informal way to say from the very beginning or right from the start.
How is it used?
Often to describe the initial tone, attitude, or situation right at the start of something. From the get-go, I knew this project would be challenging. Or, positively, my boss was super supportive from the get-go. It emphasizes the starting point.
A great undiscovered place or thing. A hidden gem.
A hidden gem. This refers to something, usually a place like a restaurant, shop, park, or maybe even a book or movie that is wonderful, high quality, or charming, but isn't widely known or popular. It's like a secret treasure.
Like a quiet coffee shop.
Perfect example. A fantastic little coffee shop tucked away on a side street that most tourists miss. That's a hidden gem. Or a delicious, authentic restaurant that isn't trendy or crowded. It implies value that hasn't been widely discovered yet.
Okay, comparing opportunity versus high demand again, knocking at your door versus knocking down your door. That word change is huge.
It really is such a subtle shift, such a different meaning. Knocking at your door suggests opportunity is politely available, maybe gently presenting itself. Like we said, with that degree, opportunities are knocking at your door. It's an invitation.
Gentle.
Right. But knocking down your door, that's intense. It means people are aggressively eager, desperate, clamoring to get something you have or offer.
Like for a hot product.
Exactly. Our new cookies are so popular, customers are knocking down our door. It implies overwhelming demand, intense eagerness, almost forceful interest. It really reminds us how much nuance a single word can carry. What does this all mean? It means listening for that intensity.
From gentle invitation to insistent demand. Incredible. Okay, connecting different things. To bridge the gap.
Bridge the gap. This means to connect two different things, maybe people, ideas, cultures, skill levels to reduce the distance, separation, or misunderstanding between them.
Like what we're doing today.
Hopefully. Trying to bridge the gap between textbook English and natural, fluent conversation. Or you might talk about programs designed to bridge the gap between rich and poor communities, or efforts to bridge the gap between older and younger generations through shared activities. It's about connection and reducing divides.
Great phrase. And starting over completely. Start from the top.
Start from the top. This specifically means to begin something again, completely from the very beginning, restarting from scratch.
Like in music practice.
Oh,
Or a presentation.
very common in music. Okay. That wasn't right. Let's take it from the top. Or if a presentation goes wrong, let's just stop and start from the top. Or even replaying a video. Wait, I missed that. Can you start it from the top? It means a complete reset to the beginning. Hashtag outro, outro.
Wow. Okay, that was quite the deep dive, wasn't it? We've covered so much ground today, from understanding that subtle apology in "it slipped my mind," all the way to the kind of profound life advice in "you reap what you sow."
Yeah, and we went through that whole landscape of modern slang. It's giving "I'm unwell," the ick. Plus those really tricky ones like unreal or I don't believe you, where the meaning just completely flips depending on how you say it.
It really shows how layered and, well, alive the English language is. It's not static at all.
Not in the slightest. And this deep dive, I hope, has shown that understanding these phrases, it's not just about, sounding more American or more British or whatever. That's not really the point. It's about connecting. Connecting on a deeper level, understanding the nuances, the culture packed into these words. Each phrase we talked about has its own story, its own context, and grasping that really elevates how you can express yourself and how well you understand others.
Absolutely. And so that's really our encouragement to you listening now. You've got this expanded toolkit, this new awareness. Start noticing these phrases out in the wild.
Pay attention.
In conversations, podcasts, movies, songs. Listen for the context, the tone. How do those things change the meaning? And then when you hear one and it clicks, try using it.
Yeah, don't be afraid to try them out.
Exactly. Remember, fluency isn't just memorizing lists. It's about using language confidently in the right situation. Practice, context, repetition. That's how these phrases become truly, naturally yours.
Think of it less like homework and more like exploring a really cool, complex city. Each phrase is a landmark, guiding you to more interesting places in the language.
Well said. So what does this all mean for you? Here's something to think about. If language itself is constantly shifting, constantly evolving, new slang pops up, old idioms get new life, meanings subtly change, what does that tell us about communication itself? Is there really such a thing as a final master level? Or is fluency actually this ongoing, fascinating deep dive into waters that are always changing?